Hey guys. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get through this, explaining this horrific spreadsheet to you as fast as I can. So the way this is gonna work, you're gonna move through day one. Day one and day two, we're working on developing strength and hypertrophy. Day three is spine and torso strength development. Take it a little bit easy on spine day. Having somebody with a trained eye help you identify hinge points in your spine is very helpful. And since most of you aren't going to have that, just be cautious with working in like full end range of motion, like flexing your spine as hard as you can and extending, especially if it's passive. If you're pulling yourself into the position, it's a little safer than if you're being pushed into the position, which I've tried to get rid of any of those. So like Jefferson curls, for example, is a little sketchy if you don't have a good, if your back's not moving yet, scrap those until it's moving. Anyways, day 4 and day 5 are rate of force development days. So we're working on boosting both speed and strength at the same time. And the main goals, you can scroll down here. There's a little purple box at the bottom that says overall program goals. So for this 4-week cycle, we're going to try to up our squat strength, up our pull-up strength, lat strength. We're going to work on glute ham hypertrophy, delt bicep pec hypertrophy, and then the capsule is on a maintenance cycle. So just something for you guys to know for your information. If you, in the assessment, find that you need more capsule space, like you don't have hip IR, you don't have shoulder ER, something like that, know that that's a huge priority and that normally for someone like that, if I did a program for you, I would put that as the main intent. So the main stress of the program is going to go on developing your capsules. And this one, we're stressing the strength stuff. And the strength stuff basically robs from the capsule. So if you're somebody that's had a hard time making progress with your mobility, this might be a light bulb moment for you. It's probably because you're doing too much other training that is tightening things back up. So you need to really devote the frequency and time and intensity to developing the capsule and put the other stuff on maintenance. But that's not what we're doing in this cycle. So this cycle is not going to make you shouldn't really gain a lot of range of motion doing this unless, again, you're just so new to all of this stuff that it's like everything works great. That's the beauty of being new at things. Okay, so back up here, you're going to go through day one. And just for an example, you start off with your cars, you click the blue, follow the video. Sweet. Did the spine cars, cool. Then you move on to the capsule and connective tissue section, 2-minute pails and rails. Big note to self here. This is going to be, rather than what it says in the video, it's going to be 2 minutes cumulative in that time. So you're going to do your isometrics within the 2 minutes. You can do them in the middle of it, you can do them at the end of it, but don't stay in longer than 2 minutes just because we're trying to get through this. And the 2-minute mark is generally seen as adequate for connective tissue targeting for improving architecture. Okay, so we're doing capsules, shoulders and elbow capsules. The reason that we don't mix and match anymore, doing full body in one session, is because now the way that we're training, you're training your capsule, the rotational tissues, the linear tissues, all associated with shoulder. So you're doing a really full shoulder training day. If you wanted to train full body, it would just take forever to move in that workflow. Like it's too much stuff. So that being said, we did have some questions about whether or not you had to do all 5 of these days. No, you don't. You could skip the day 4 and 5 if you wanted to completely, or what you could do, which is what's kind of nifty about the way that this program works now, is that so day 1 is upper body and day 4 is upper body. So what you can do is go through your cars, capsule, cars, rotation, cars on day 1. Then you can do your linear strength hypertrophy. And then you can just go over to the other kind of blue-green section there, the linear rate of force development, and do those exercises after the strength exercises. So it would be 8 total sets. Well, not including warm-up sets. Cool? So you could combine those things. And that would be fine. The stuff that's on the rate of force development is lower intensity, and it would be a little bit better to not do it on the same day because you don't necessarily want fatigue going into that, but if you gotta and you don't want to miss it, then you could do that and that would be okay. Cool, so you would put the linear, just take the linear and move it over, and then you could do that. Cool? Okay, so anyways, So we did our cars, we did our capsules, we did cars again. Then you're going to go on to the rotational exercises. We're doing 2 of those. Then you're going to do your cars again. Then you're going to go do your linear strength training exercises. Then you're going to do cars again. And then the last section there, the connective tissue architecture, is you could skip that if you don't have time or you don't want to do it, or you have loads of whatever we're stretching. So if it's shoulder flexion and you've got like tons of it, then don't worry about doing it. Just know that like doing pull-ups, you're losing shoulder flexion as you do your pull-ups. So getting in and opening that stuff back up helps you not lose range of motion. Okay. What else to say here? Oh yeah, the big thing that is going to be confusing to you guys. So we're not doing a set number of sets and reps anymore. We're done with that. Why? Because what is the goal of sets and reps? Volume, right? What's the goal of volume? Crickets. Nobody knows. Is it to do some damage? So that's a theory that damage does have an effect, and they can't really quite prove it. And the suspicion now is that the damage isn't really essential for hypertrophy or strength. Mechanical tension seems to be the big thing. So if you want to get stronger and you need to stimulate the right type of neurology to teach the tissues how to basically activate all of the neurology available to it to work, you have to hit that level. So it's like 100%. Did you hit 100%? No. Why not? Because you did too much volume and you got tired, so you're not hitting 100%. So it robs from your strength gains. Yes, you will still get stronger, especially if you're an untrained individual or you're somewhere in the middle. But Russian research showing that this is optimal, performed on decades of highly trained individuals, and whatever is optimal will also work for the novice. So why not just wipe out the stuff that doesn't really work as well as it could and focus on the stuff that does? The next thing is also same thing with hypertrophy. Like if you take something truly to failure, you have hit the training stimulus for that muscle group. So you don't need to just keep doing stuff. Like you don't need to just keep at it. All right. That being said, so you look over at this column that says input, and you'll see, oh, 1 or 2. What does that mean? 3, 5, 6S, 6H. Oh, what is she talking about? Well, scroll on down, see the blue box. This is also going to be teaching you something cool, so it's a little education here. We've got the input cycle number, which is what you associate it with. So if you find, say, a 6S, I'm going to go to 6. What is 6S? Strength. So it's either going to be strength or hypertrophy. And what does it say to do? It says 6, the intent of 6 is fast twitch to failure. Effort is max effort to failure. Loading is, for strength, 12 to 24 seconds, somewhere in the 90 to 100% of my max. Depending on whether or not you're a man or a woman, how experienced you are, what kind of fiber mix you have, what kind of training you've been doing, you're going to be a little different from everyone else. So you're going to warm up, you're going to do your squats. You will feel really warm. Following this flow, you will not need the same warm-up you did before. Trust me. So you're going to get all good and warm, and then you're going to, as in jumping up on some weights. It goes pretty fast though, honestly. Like I feel like you don't have to do the same amount. Anyways, get close to the weight that you need. Don't get too tired out getting there. It's just like you're going to max out, basically. You want to make sure that you're making smart jumps so that you're not freaking out your nervous system, but that you're also not tiring yourself out. Get to that, what you think you're going to do for a max out. Have spotter arms out, or have somebody there to help you, or 2 guys to help lift the bar back up. If you don't have somebody to help with failure, practice your bailing technique just in case, and then you could possibly stop right before failure. Unfortunately, the best way for this to work is by truly going to failure. And honestly, the stuff that we've been experimenting with, people will stop so far before they'll actually fail. It's terrible. I mean, it's like, I really would think that you have 1 rep in reserve, but this is really going to truly teach you what that actually feels like. And it is not pleasant. That being said, also, if you're new and you haven't been training for a while, you're going to avoid inputs 6 and 7. We are not going to take things to failure. You're going to be doing learning sets. So you can do more than one set. You don't have to do 3 sets. You don't have to do 5 sets. 5 sets is probably way too many. But what we're trying to do here is high information, control, and learning. So we're just looking for fatigue. A set should last somewhere between 40 to 90 seconds. And then the effort is submaximal, but nearing the end of that set, you should feel your form starting to break down from fatigue. That's when you stop. That's considered failure for somebody that's just learning something. Cool? Okay, that's important. Okay, so then you're kind of figuring out a range of whether it's a maximal effort or submaximal effort, and then the time domain to do it in based on the information in the loading section here, and then write about the percentages that you'll be using for that. And then you can also see over to the side here, I put in just what the goals of these input cycles are. So there we go, right? And I think I mentioned, I went through our goals here. You guys might be wondering, I don't think I said this. I already recorded this video once and I did say it then, so I'm confused. But make sure that you understand that this is not, we're not maxing our deadlift. We're just maxing 2 lifts because we only have 4 weeks to hit exposure on these things, and it's going to work better if we do it that way. In the programming that we have on Train Heroic, we do focus on all of the lifts, but they jog around week to week because we just have more time to focus on this stuff. But since this is just a 4-week cycle, we're just going to dedicate the strength focus to 2 lifts, and then the rest of it is the other tissues are on hypertrophy focus. Okay, hopefully I didn't say that already. I'm lost in my own spreadsheet. Okay, so I think that covers it. So you understand how to flow down. You get the one exercise, you do it, you hit the stimulus, yes or no is the answer. If you don't, take notes on how to do it better the next time. If, for example, you try to take something to failure and you don't fail within the assigned time domain, that's fine. You still failed anyway. So you probably then hit a hypertrophy instead, but it doesn't, you'll still benefit immensely from it. It's just the next week, try to fix it so that it's more optimized, but don't worry about it and don't do it again because you won't have the right amount of energy available anyway because you did already take it to failure. There are a couple of abbreviations in here, like CT, that means continuous tension. The EQIs, the eccentric quasi-isometrics, those will be described in the video, so I don't have to worry about those. What else would be odd? I think that's it. I think I've gotten it. I think I have all of it. Oh, the one other thing is that you're going to see input cycles 4, which is speed work, and that's not really specified in the how-to of the videos, and that just make sure that it says down in the input cycle, but just make sure you understand it. It's speed training. So you're trying to pop up out of the squat. Concentric contractions are supposed to be as fast as possible, almost a jump, maybe even a jump if you want to do that. Once you load it between 40 to 60% of your max, and as soon as the velocity drops off, that's when the reps stop, okay? Everything else I think should be explained well enough in the input cycle. If you have any questions, just email me at info@basishpny.com. And I think that's it. I hope you guys have fun with this. It looks like a lot, but it is, these go pretty fast once you get this little system down. So yeah, okay.